welcome back to Grace's room. So, since so many people have been asking me for my everyday makeup routine, that was a joke, and a lot of people have actually asked, but I just feel like I want to share it with you guys, you know? Obviously, I do sometimes get people asking me to like upload like a routine, but I feel like I already showed you guys so much in all my other videos. I do like my get readies with me, what my basic makeup routine is. But today, it's like people here, I'm gonna start recording and they think, okay, let's mow the lawn right now. So the point of today's video is to really just get into the nitty gritty of my makeup routine. I wanna show you guys every step, every like technique I do, not that I know a lot of techniques, but you know, just like what works for me best in case any of you guys, you know, want a bit of advice on how to like change up your makeup routine. If you feel like trying some different things, I don't know. And it has definitely seen a lot of change and development over the years. So let's get started. I would like to give a disclaimer that I'm definitely no makeup artist, so any advice I give today might be like completely wrong or incorrect, but you know, this is just like what works for me. So for today's tutorial, there are 5 things that you're gonna need. 1 is makeup. 2 are makeup brushes. 3, you're gonna need something to hold your hair back with, whether that's like some hair clips or like a headband. 4, and this is something a lot of people forget to mention, you're gonna need some kind of like tissue or like a wipe with you. Because let's be real, when you're doing your makeup, you're always like reaching for something like to clean your hands with, especially, you know, if you're like blending something in with your fingers. And number 5, you're gonna need a good music playlist to listen to while you get ready. That's an essential. Obviously, I won't be able to do that last step today because, you know, copyright issues and stuff, but just play some music along your head. I think I'll use hair clips today. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I do, obviously I've just like cleansed my face. It's bare at the moment, and I'm gonna do some light skincare. I'm gonna combine some moisturizer. I literally use any moisturizer. I'm just using this like little sample one I have here from Tatcha, the Silk Cream. And I'm gonna combine this with the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Hue Drops in the shade Sun Glow. Now, in a little TikTok I recently uploaded, I asked you guys to recommend a good bronzing drop for me, and a lot of people said the Glow Recipe ones. What I do is I combine, I think I said a lot of people doing this, but I combine the moisturizer with some sort of like little glowy product, and I wanted to switch up to bronzing drops because I find that, you know, they add a nice little tan look to your face. For that, I was just using glow drops, and I like with these bronzing drops that they have a little bit of shimmer in them too, so it still like adds a bit of like that glowy effect. Don't forget the neck. Another important step, don't forget your neck. It's always so bad when I've done my makeup and then I realize like my neck is like 10 shades lighter than my face. It's like, oh. Like I was looking at my formal makeup from year 12, I think it was, and whatever foundation I used must have just been way too orange because I was looking at some of the photos. It was like orange and then it was like pale. I was like, ah. Who let me go out like that? The next step, now this is a must in my makeup routine. Like no matter what makeup look I'm doing, I will always wear my sunscreen. Now this is a tinted sunscreen, so it's got a bit of pigment in it. This one is from the brand, Mesoaesthetic. I think this channel needs a compilation at some point of me trying to pronounce words because I just can't seem to do it, can I? It's gonna take a little bit. And what I love about this one, especially as someone I don't really like to wear foundation a lot, is that it basically acts as, well, my foundation, I guess. And it just looks so much more natural and stuff, but obviously I understand some people prefer foundation, so if you prefer foundation, you might want to do that step now. If I'm doing a full glam look, I will definitely like do foundation just because it's more long lasting. Now this is where that wipe is going to come in handy because my hands are dirty and I could go and wash them, but I'm filming. See how just adding those 2 products, like my skin just looks like more lively, you know, like compared to before. This is something I've recently switched up with my routine, and that is adding cream contour before concealer. This one here is from Makeup by Mario. It's in the shade medium. I have this flat brush here from Mecca Max. And what I like to do is just sort of pat a little bit onto my brush, and then I'll go where I want to contour. So my jawline and a little bit like on the forehead as well, and also a little bit below the jaw as well, just to really like snatch the face, you know. And the reason why I've started doing this before concealer is because sometimes when you're applying the cream contour, it can sort of get a little bit messy, a little bit muddy, you know, especially if you've like maybe added a little bit too much. And that way when you add the concealer later, it sort of sharpens like where you place the contour, if that makes sense. Just gonna take a little small fluffy brush and I'm gonna get a little bit of that contour, and I'm just gonna very slightly try and contour my nose a little bit, and just like literally straight down. I put a little bit like under my nose, and then also just like a little bit on top of sort of like where I want to emphasize like that button, but I do it very like roughly. And then like a tip I see a lot of people saying is like sort of drag it a little bit to your eyelids as well, so it looks more natural. Now concealer is like one of my most essential steps. If I have like 2 seconds to do my makeup, I will do mascara and I'll do concealer. This is my go-to combo at the moment. I mean, honestly, I literally just use this Kosas one here. This is in the shade 2.6C. I found that this is literally the best shade match I've ever found for a concealer. So with the Kosas concealer, I just take a little bit under my eye, not too much, just a bit there. And then I draw like a little line sort of near like my eye, just to sort of like create that snatchy effect. Now sometimes I'll get like a little bit of darkness like around my lips, so I like to put 2 tiny dots there, and I'll also do a little bit under my chin and a little bit down here, and also like a little bit on the tip of my nose, just to sort of help like really define like that button nose effect we tried to create. Sometimes I also put like 2 little lines under my cheek too, just to sort of help define like that contour we did before. Now this is, I think, is like my all-time favorite brush. I could probably do my entire makeup look just using this one. It's from Rare Beauty. It's the foundation brush. I'm just gonna take it and I'm gonna buff it out. Just like lightly tap, 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 tap. And then obviously with the concealer under my cheek, I sort of just like try and avoid going over like where I place that contour. Now with this Rare Beauty concealer, because it's a little bit of a lighter shade, I like to just sort of top up under my eyes a little bit with it, just because I can get really dark under eyes, especially like today because I woke up at 6:30 for uni. So now we're gonna go in with some setting powder. This one here is the Fit Me one from Maybelline. This is in the shade Fair Light. It's the setting powder I found that has worked the best for me. And I also have this little powder puff here from Mecca. What I like to do is just dip the puffer inside. You sort of tap the excess off on like the back of your hand. So I'll take this and go under my eyes and really just tap that in. Other side. The main point with like the powder is that you kind of want to add it where you added concealer, just because that's the most likely to like slide off your face or crease or something, and that just really helps lock it in place. I'm gonna like sort of swipe under my face where I added that concealer. Taylor Swift just released her new album today. I got a notification about it. The Life of a Showgirl. Obviously I'm yet to listen to it, so let me know in the comments if any of you guys have and whether you enjoyed it. And with this, I like to sort of just like tap away any excess powder that might be creating a bit of like a cakey look. Let's continue. So now we're going to use some bronzer. This is my favorite bronzer from Maybelline, the City Bronzer. And I take a nice like an angled fluffy brush here. This is the Morphe E4. Blend that right over like where I placed that contour. I like to kind of stop like with the contour, almost like in line with like where my pupil is, if that makes sense. Just topping up like that nose contour a little bit, I guess. Now I'm going to put this bronzer to the side because I'm not done with it yet. Now, blush. This one here is from NARS. It comes in like a palette with like a bronzer, highlighter, but I love the blush. I think this blush shade was only sold in this palette. I haven't been able to find it like by itself. It's in the shade Minerva. And I take another fluffy angled brush, tap, tap, tap. And then I like to just to go like right above where I placed that contour and bronzer. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. When I learnt this hack, it was like life-changing. And that is taking your blush and actually putting a little bit like on your forehead as well. You guys probably are thinking like, Grace, I already knew that. I didn't, okay? It was revolutionary for me when I first found this out. But I place a little bit like kind of like above my eyebrows and a little bit on my chin too. Brings like the whole look together, and it kind of makes you look a little bit more sun-kissed. My nose too, in the middle. For highlighter, I feel like the whole point of highlighter is to really give you like a bit more of like that glowy kind of dewy look. So maybe if you want more of a matte look, you might want to go in with a powder highlighter. I know it's a bit of like a sin to put liquid products over powder, but I haven't really had any problems with this. I take a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk highlighter and I just do like 2 tiny little dots, and with my fingers I find this gives a bit more of a natural blend if you just sort of tap that in. Sometimes like, you know, I'm like, oh, this isn't like enough highlight, so I'll go over with a little bit of a powder highlight too. That can help. You probably can't even really see it that much, but it's just added like a really subtle glow because I don't want to look like too overly shiny. I'll take a bit of that highlighter as well and put a little bit like on the bridge of my nose too. Now I'm actually going to take my powder highlighter, because this one is just the Jaclyn Hill palette, by the way. I find this can be a little bit more precise. I'm going to take this really small eyeshadow brush I have. You can just use any eyeshadow brush. On the tip of my nose, just adding it to the tip of your nose really helps if you're trying to create a little bit more of like that button nose effect. I also add a little bit to like my inner corner. This is the Rare Beauty brow gel. I'll be honest, I don't really fill them in. I know I have the scar up here, so I could fill it in a little bit, but I'm used to how it looks now. I've had a very positive experience with this one. I find that it definitely keeps your brows like locked in place. I'm kind of like just flatten them with my fingers a little bit. Now, before I go in with my mascara, I like to use a little bit of eyeliner. Normally I use the Sephora brand one, but recently I picked up this one from Laura Mercier because I tried it in the store and it was really smooth. This is in the shade Espresso Brown. I like to use a brown pencil eyeliner because, like I said, coming back to that word again, it's a little bit more natural. And what I like to do with this, pay attention, I just like to create a tiny little wing, and I'll take my nail and just sort of extend that wing and just like blend it out a little bit on the other side. I do this all the time. It's my favorite step. I like to just very lightly drag my under eye and I'll apply this right along my waterline. Obviously be careful, don't poke your eyeball out if you are doing this step. Please be gentle. I don't want anyone poking out their eyeballs. And sometimes I'll also like lift my, oh, this looks really scary. I lift my eyelid up. I draw this like right under my lash line. This step is really hard. You can't really see what you're doing. And see how that brown eyeliner just like already adds a little bit more shape to the eyes. Now, this is the holy grail step. That is mascara. I've been combining two mascaras lately. I recently just invested in the full-sized Hourglass mascara. I was just using the mini one, but normally I just use this one here from Too Faced. The key thing with these two mascaras is that they are tubing mascaras. These ones, you literally just wet your lashes and you like pull it off gently and all the mascara comes off like in one clump. They're very good, I recommend. These ones may be a little bit more on the pricey side, but they're really good drugstore alternatives that you can search up. Like the MCO Beauty one is really good. So what I like to do is start off with the Too Faced one just to kind of add a little bit of like clumps to my lashes, I guess. And then I sort of smooth it out with the Hourglass one. So I just start at the root, wiggle it around and drag it up. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I have a lash lift. So that's why I didn't curl my lashes before this. I'm going to take my Hourglass mascara and I'm going to do the same thing, just wiggle it through my lashes. And with this one, I also like to kind of focus on like the tips of my lashes a little bit, if that makes sense. I like to use it on my lower lashes. So I take my tissue and I just wipe up any of that product on my lid. That bronzer I put aside before, I'm gonna take a bit of it now, sort of swipe that over my eye. I believe we are approaching the final step now, and that is lips. I have had a go-to lip routine for I'd say over a year now. I find that the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lip liner is like the best like everyday shade. It like matches like the natural lip color so well, or for me at least, I find. I will say MCO Beauty has an exact dupe for this color, like it's identical. For like my top and bottom lip, I kind of like to overline it just a little bit, just to help really, you know, create a nice plump look. Go like right under and then overline a little bit on top too. Very subtle, obviously, because you don't want to like look crazy. And for those inner corners, I don't overline the inner corners because that just makes it look super obvious. You sort of just want to make sure you're sticking to your natural lip line and just connect to like where you drew up those lines in the center of your lips. I'm always doing a glossy lip. These are my two go-to lip products. If I want a bit more of like a natural, like to uni every single day, I just wear the Summer Fridays lip balm in the shade Vanilla Beige. Otherwise, I keep this in my bag at all times. This is the Maracuja Juicy Lip Plump from Tarte in the shade Primrose. It's my favorite shade. And I tap that on. It is a little bit tingly though, so if you don't like tingly lip products, don't get this one. Anything that has lip plump on it, don't get because it will sting. Final step, we have setting spray. This one is the One Size Until Dawn Mattifying Waterproof Setting Spray. And I like to use this one just because normally I'm putting on my makeup in the morning and I want it to last all day. And this one really just locks it in place. Don't suffocate yourself either. And then the final reveal, let's take out the hair clips. And this is the final makeup look. Wow, amazing. So yeah, that's my everyday makeup routine. I hope that this was helpful to some of you guys. If it wasn't, then I hope you just enjoyed me rambling about how I do my makeup every day. Don't forget to check out my Instagram at grace.moldguru and my TikTok at grace.moldguru, and I'll see you guys next time on Grace's Room. Bye for now.